With a WWE star possibly injured and a spoiler regarding the direction for the Mysterios, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 26th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Eric Bischoff recently took to his 83 Weeks podcast to talk about CM Punk's run in AEW, saying he is yet to deliver in terms of ratings. Punk hasn't delivered. Punk was the guy that came out, and his first comments were the addition of this talent was more significant than Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, constantly making references to WCW, because they want to be the company that WCW was back in the mid-90s. There's these constant references to WCW. When Hall and Nash came in, we took off. Punk, you came in and you shit the bed in terms of ratings. Bischoff would also go after Punk after ratings for Dynamite took a dip following his return. This is what lit my fuse. I wasn't going to comment on any of this until Punk came out and said it's going to take 5 years for the effect of this talent to really show up significantly in the ratings. Are you kidding me? Does anybody other than an uninformed wrestling fan who loves CM Punk, is anybody going to believe that nonsense? It's going to take you 5 years? Dude, you're going to be getting AARP mail, because it happens soon as you start getting close to 50. They start pounding you with this. I'll let that one go. But then to come out a couple weeks later after, in my opinion, he should be embarrassed, and for the ratings to take the dive the way they did after his debut suggests to me that he ain't as hot as he's trying to make people think he is. If he was, the numbers would be much bigger. Speaking of Eric Bischoff, he not only took issue with CM Punk, but had this to say about AEW President Tony Khan comparing himself to Ted Turner. All I'm suggesting is, rather than claiming you're competing against, and somehow you're competing favorably because you're comparing a percentage of your demos on your Wednesday night show to a percentage of the demos on Monday Night Raw, notice they don't talk about SmackDown too much. But on Monday Night Raw, when they go against Monday Night Football, which probably has the highest concentration of male 18 to 49-year-olds than just about anything else on TV in any given week, is a false equivalency. It just isn't real. It's data gymnastics. I hope Tony and I can maintain our relationship. If we do, I'm grateful for that. If we don't, that's life. I have no real skin in the game. I'm just trying to clarify my position. I did take personal umbrage to the fact that Tony would compare himself the way he did to Ted Turner. I just think it was a dumb move. Bischoff would then drag Khan for burning up talents in AEW. WWE made a move that was the catalyst for Tony Khan to take his highest profile piece of talent arguably and put him in that time slot, and the show did less than 1 million viewers. How is that a win? Burning up talent, putting someone into a match with a storyline with no angle. It was definitely an indelicious move, but you're burning up resources and you walked away with less than 1 million viewers? Rampage did have a great deal of success with CM Punk initially, as the show has been on the decline in viewers since. With the success of having 2 nights of WrestleMania, it was said on Wrestling Observer Radio that with Mania in Dallas being a 2-night event means the future shows will be the same. They are going to do a discount if you buy both shows. I presume also that means all WrestleManias going forward, including Hollywood the year after, will be 2-night affairs. That makes sense. The benefits from a 2-night Mania include extra ticket sales, more merchandise money, and ensures that fans won't have to sit through a 6-hour event. With WWE having future plans for WrestleMania, they also may have an idea of how to counter-program AEW's All Out pay-per-view for next year. As it was noted on The Observer, Saturday, September 3rd, it says, or Sunday, September 4th, pay-per-view at TBD location. So they're going to figure out when and where AEW is running All Out, and they're booking a pay-per-view for that weekend. With WEEI in Boston, Bryan Danielson talked about changes he needs to make in wrestling now that he is in AEW, and this includes having fewer bouts. I'm a little more judicious, but realistically the big thing that has changed, and this was a choice when I re-signed my last WWE contract and when it came to AEW, and one of the benefits of AEW is that I need to be doing less matches because I like to go hard. If you tell me go a little bit lighter today, it's easy to say, but in practice it doesn't work like that. I don't care if there are 20,000 people like at Arthur Ashe Stadium or if there are 85 people, and I've wrestled in front of less than 100 people many times. The people still pay their money to see the show, and you want to give them a great show. It's hard for people like me to pull back. Really, it's about doing a less number of matches per year and focusing on the quality of those matches and making sure I give the live crowd something they're happy they paid their money to see. Danielson had a great bout against New Japan star Suzuki earlier this month, where Bryan noted he was beat up after the match, as there is definitely truth to him putting his all into these bouts he's a part of. While Chris Jericho's cruise was previously home to taped AEW matches, this time around no taping took place. Dave Meltzer would know why this didn't happen over the weekend. The rating was average for the last Jericho broadcast. You know, I thought with this cool look and everything it will do well, but it did not. It got the same average rating. It is difficult. If you tape ahead, the results do get out. Going live, from what I was told, going live is very expensive. I can see why. They didn't tape anything from there. Not even dark, not anything like that. Jericho mentioned during the cruise that a 4th edition of the event will happen in March, as it's not known at this time if that will be taped or not. Rey Mysterio recently said his son Dominik will outshine him in WWE, with him noting that it may have worked out better if the two were separated. On Wrestling Observer Radio, their future was discussed, with it noted, "I know what the story is, but I also know that any long-term story with WWE can be dropped at any moment, but if it is not dropped, the way the story is formulated, Dominik does have to lose his matches for a while to get that frustration to do the turn." Rey has also said he is against a father-son feud in WWE, so we'll have to see how this all unfolds. Speaking to Ariel Helwani about her WWE run that ended in 2020, Renee Paquette revealed she requested a release from the company long before that, probably about 5 years ago. I had asked for my release from WWE and I wasn't granted it. This was before I did commentary. This was before I did a lot of other things, and I'm glad I didn't leave at that point. I'm glad I wasn't granted my release because my resume wouldn't be what it is today if I had left during that point. I think for me it was really, I still sort of had stars in my eyes, and I still have stars in my eyes about things I want to do with my career, and I kept feeling like I was hitting a wall of being told you cannot be a star within the company, because it was not about me, and I get that, because I'm the broadcaster, I'm the personality, I'm not the roster. I understand I'm not putting asses in seats, I'm not selling merch, I'm not selling tickets, I get it, but that was sort of the thing that just felt very stunting to me in my career, being like, damn, I feel like I have so much more to offer, there's so many more things I want to do, and yes, you've given me this amazing platform, but I do see where that ceiling is at, and I see more for me outside of this, and if you guys don't see that, or if that opportunity doesn't exist, I don't even know if they didn't see that. The opportunities just weren't even there. With the network starting and having the WWE network and the different versions of that, from when it first started to just being all interview shows to it being all documentaries, they were really going through their growth spurts of figuring out what the network was, and I couldn't find out the place I wanted to land within that. Then moving over to Fox and being able to do backstage with Fox, that was something that scratched that bit of an itch where I was like, I like doing this. I like being in the studio setting. I like working with Fox. I had such a great experience there, but then that came to an end as well, with COVID kind of shutting the doors on everything. Anyways, kind of going back to what I was saying, I asked for my release several years ago. It wasn't granted. Got to do a bunch of other things. And then on that second time when I was like, okay, now it's really time to get off this ride, that's sort of the reference I keep coming back to a lot, getting off that ride. It's hard to find a time to leave WWE. There's never a perfect time. It just goes so fast. honest. The fact that I was there for 8 years makes my head spin, but it's like next show, next pay-per-view. Now we're building to Mania, now we're building to SummerSlam, and this is coming up, and this is new opportunity. There's never that time to really get your foot out that other door. So with my time at commentary ending, the Fox show ended, and then COVID, we were in the middle of COVID. I was like, this is my time. I see this window, and this is my time to jump off the ride and figure it out. In that same interview, Renee Paquette would be asked if she would have stayed with WWE if Jon Moxley did not decide to leave the company, as she responded, "No, I don't think so, because he was still there when I tried to leave before. He was at the height of doing all of the Dean Ambrose things. I don't think those things go hand in hand. I do think it definitely helped in the sense, and not even in the sense of you're not here, I'm going to follow you and do the things you're doing. It wasn't that. It was more so the conversations we have are do the things you want to do the things that make you happy, and if it's not here, it's not being in WWE, it's not doing the job, go do the things you want to do. It's more so that. Those were the words of encouragement that he always gave to me. Even before he left WWE, we would talk about this stuff, and like, man, you make that sound so easy. It's not so easy to pick up and go do something else. You're making good money. You've got a steady gig. That's not easy to come by in this form of entertainment. It's tough. So when I saw him get up and leave and go, fuck it, I'm going to go do my own thing, and he did leave and he's thriving, I'm like, oh shoot, look at you. To see him step out and do that, and he never hesitated. He didn't really overthink what he was doing. He just trusted his instinct and went to do that, and that was something that was hugely inspirational to me. Shoot, you're right. Go do the stuff you want to do. Life's too short. Get off this ride and go do the other things. AJ Styles and Omos were set to face the Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro, but that match did not take place this week. There was no reason given for the absence of Styles from programming on air, as Meltzer said AJ is likely injured. This was the only advertised match for Raw this week, with this supposed to serve as the rematch from Crown Jewel. Styles does have a history of shoulder issues, so we'll have to see if anything comes out about his status. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.